time. You may know that he has been out following the death of his father, Douglas. I extend my condolences to the family, and I did not know until recently that he had been a member of the Conservation Commission himself, and we're grateful for his service. We have no public hearings tonight. The first new business is appointments to subcommittees. Is anyone here to speak to Greater Woods? We do have a nomination for Greater Woods. Would anybody like to speak to that?
Yeah, we've spoken to, Jeff's spoken to this candidate before and
Okay.
was very appreciative and was happy that she was going to join, so we are intending to hopefully see her tomorrow night.
Okay, that sounds good. I see she did submit her letter of interest. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Marjorie Kuhn to the alternate position of the Greater Woods Subcommittee.
Second?
Eloise, would you like me to vote for Eric tonight?
Oh, thank you. Yes, Steve, would you please sit in for him? Gage, Jen. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Perry, seconded by Councilor Jobin to appoint Marjorie Kuhn to the Greater Woods Subcommittee. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 0. Okay, Steve or Eric. The next order of business is the appointment of a husband and wife team, Carrie and Robert Batiste, to the Horse Hill Subcommittee. One of them with a term to expire June 30th, 2025, the other to expire June 30th, 2026. I believe Mr. Batiste is here. Would you like to come up and just give us a little short introduction?
Yes, thank you for having me.
You'll want to speak into the mic, and there's a little key at the base of it. If the green light's on, you're good.
Thank you, committee members. I appreciate it. Commissioners. So yes, I was. My wife and I use Horse Hill all the time. We actually moved up here from Massachusetts. Don't hold that against me. A couple months ago. I've been going to New Hampshire my whole life, though, up at the Newfound Lake in Bristol. But we use the Horse Hill Nature Preserve all the time, like 5 times a week. And we ran into Mark one. Actually, there was a sign that had fallen down, and I was talking to my wife about how I might just fix it. And that day that we mentioned that, Mark was out in the woods fixing the sign. So we started talking to him, and he explained that he wants some, he would recommend that some residents of the town join the subcommittee. So my wife and I said we'd love to do that. And so here we are now. I have a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So the wife's home right now with a 3-month-old. But so I'm respectfully asking the commission to appoint me to the subcommittee as a full-time member. I think my wife will take the alternate seat.
Yes, full member.
Yeah.
For the term to expire June 30th, 2025. And then there's an alternate for June 30th, 2026.
And I'm excited to actually do it because I was reading the minutes from the last meeting, and I'm a real estate attorney. I actually do commercial real estate for solar development. So easements and land disputes and stuff like that's kind of right.
I'd love having that kind of skill in a subcommittee.
Yeah, it's right in my alley. And I'm not a New Hampshire licensed attorney, although I might do that soon. But I'm in Massachusetts licensed. But it just was interesting to me because that was kind of the crux of the later part of the meeting last time they met. So.
Well, thank you. I can tell you as a liaison with the Horse Hill Subcommittee, I'm a fan. Very happy to have volunteers here. Any questions for Mr. Batiste?
No, thank you very much. We appreciate you volunteering and your wife. You want to be a full-time member and your wife's going to be the alternate?
Yes, full-time for me, wife alternate. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so can we just make sure that the dates, are the dates here correct for the alternate
The
versus
full would be 2025, the alternate
Okay.
would be 2026, so it looks like we'd
Just
flip
the
them.
names. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Full is
perfect.
2025.
Okay, so
Did you
this would
just say
be,
the full
so
is
this would be Carrie for the alternate to
Yes.
expire, and then Robert for the full member. Okay, so keeping in mind that wording for the motions, and there will be 2 separate motions, would somebody like to introduce a motion for one or the other?
I move to accept Robert Batiste as the full member expiring June 30th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Duane, seconded by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Motion approved 700.
Thank Commissioners.
I'll entertain a second motion for Carrie.
I move we accept the appointment of Carrie Batiste as an alternate member to Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee with the term to expire on June 30th, 2026.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, 700, thank you.
I have one quick question. Your wife, in her letter, said you bring your bird on walks. I was just
Oh,
curious
yeah.
about that, about what kind of bird and how you manage that.
She wrote that when we had one bird. We actually have a second bird now to keep that one company when we go on the walks. But she has a little backpack. She puts it in with air holes. It's actually pretty cute, but it's challenging. But she gets once the bird's in there, it's fine. That's the hard part is getting the bird in.
That's awesome.
I look forward to meeting you on the trails there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a weird, written into one of the bylaws for one of the properties that birds must be in cages on the trails.
Must be what?
In cages on the trails. Yeah, I'm like, I was
Oh,
like.
I'd stand up by him and say the backpack's
Oh, I know, but I just remember reading that and be like, who would bring a bird on a cage and go for a walk? Here we go.
We found them.
We got one.
My wife will love that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have
We
a good
appreciate
evening.
it.
The next item of business is installation of a new gate at Sklar, submitted by Commissioner Welsh. Would you like to speak to that?
First of all, are we skipping Marjorie Kuhn?
Oh,
Did we do?
no, we voted on that, 700.
We did? Oh my gosh. I was here.
Your hand
and
was up.
My brain was, okay. I already forgot. Tom, do we have, okay.
As far as
So-
I know, right now, there is no concrete plan for a gate.
So we wanted, I think we might have already discussed this at the last meeting, but it had already been added for this meeting. We wanted to discuss whether it was possible and allowed to put a gate at the entrance to Sklar to close seasonally to protect the roads. And I actually have been asking around to find out if there's any legal issues with the water access. And there might be, but,
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the access road to the boat ramp.
right, and there might be some historical necessity for access, but I don't know if that means, because it wouldn't be limiting human access, it would be limiting vehicle access seasonally, which,
I think we'd have to review the classification for that road.
and I've inquired about that and not received a response. Well, I received an initial response and then responded and then did not receive a final response, so there might be some following up I need to do.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of, obviously check with, we need to go through the town, go through ComDev and find out what the requirements are to allow public access to that.
So they'll do the research for us?
Well, I would think if there's gonna be any restrictions, it would be there. I mean, if we're that's our property.
Yeah,
But it's the public access point.
okay.
So we are gonna, it's one of these things, it's ours, but it's not really ours to exclude. But if a class 6 road, if that's a class 6 road, it could be subject to gates and bars.
Well, and that's what I asked.
So we just need to find out, I think, kind of get a true determination of what it is and what we're allowed to do.
I asked DPW, or the Highway Division, what the class of that road was by name, and they're like, we don't even know the name of a road.
Yeah, it's probably, I guess it would just be the extension that,
The Griffin Street Extension or something?
Okay, because whatever Google calls it, they're
Yeah.
like, we don't have a road by that name anywhere, and I was like, well, here's the map, this one. And that's what I haven't received a follow-up on, but I'll email ComDev.
yeah, I would keep them in the loop. Because that's gonna be, we're gonna need, some type of legal standing as to what's that.
This is going to need to involve DPW, ComDev, probably the town manager as well.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, so can I, CC all of them on that?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
And you can ask that whoever is in the best position to answer, provide the answer, but
Yeah.
obviously everybody's going to need to hear about the discussion eventually. And is this the same or different from the next item? Discussion of barriers at Sklar to close park to vehicles for winter/flooding season.
That's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what new gate meant, because new gate makes me think some things got confused.
Yeah, I thought, I saw a new gate in Sklar.
Is that Greater Woods?
I'm assuming that was the new gate for,
Greater Woods, but
For
I
Greater Woods on the-
didn't
on the
submit that.
back.
Because
side of the
Greater
Wood.
Woods, I remember we had a
Right.
discussion on.
Right.
And if you look at Jeff's email, he made the comment about if the gate's gonna be on the meeting, he could be here to talk to.
Okay, and because
So
the
I'm
agenda,
assuming- Yeah, I'm assuming, I didn't really catch it before, so,
neither did I.
yeah.
So is this something we can defer to the next meeting? Because I don't have any information to
Yes,
bring
I
to it
would-
now.
Yeah, I would think so. 'Cause I'm not sure, I don't know if Highway got down there to look at that gate. They were gonna go look at it. I don't know if it ever happened.
Okay. So I'm going to defer discussion of installation of a gate at Greater Woods to the next meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
Can I just go back for 1 second on
Sure.
Sklar? I did contact VPW about the area where the previously installed barriers were put up and cut down. I asked them if there was any possibility that we could get some kind of a temporary for the winter, a cement barrier, like those New Jersey barriers, to just put across so that for the winter, nobody can get down there. They don't have anything like that. So I think that we're at a point now
I
where
think there are
everything.
rocks there right now.
There are?
I think so.
The-
I've gotten some
The-
pictures from Michael Druin, and I see rocks in the pictures, like
Oh.
big boulders. So they might have tried boulders again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that we are attempting to do there is going dormant until springtime.
Okay.
We can't, there's really not a whole lot we can do
Right.
there, with construction or anything, digging up the ground. So it's kind of like laying dormant for the time being. But the Jersey barriers are out.
Okay. Thank you. The next item of new business, request for new plexiglass for the Sklar kiosk.
Yes,
Commissioner
so
Welsh.
I guess we had some plexiglass, and the plastic was left on too long, and it's unremovable. They've tried everything. It's,
Really?
it's,
The-
solared on.
The clear protective plastic?
Yeah. It is now unremovable.
Oh,
Someone
didn't
did
know
not
that.
realize it was there, I
I
think.
didn't realize that could happen.
I didn't
Yeah.
know either.
It was, but it's melted on. So they need new plexiglass. Do we have the measurements? Someone was gonna go out there and get them.
I don't, but I can get them.
Okay.
I know, they may be in some of our minutes someplace, but,
No, someone was going to get them right after that meeting and send them, but I don't recall
okay.
who.
I'll go down tomorrow afternoon,
Okay,
and I'll email it to you when I get them.
okay, so we'll have that on for the next.
Okay.
Well, okay, it's a piece of plexiglass. I have some. Let me
Oh.
know what the measurements are, if I have a
Okay.
piece that's big enough,
Excellent.
I'll email you the dimensions too.
please.
Okay.
That's what, the last Horse Hill replacement, someone had Lexan left over from the previous work, and that got it
My
done.
only
Excellent.
concern is I know it's still got the plastic on it.
Hopefully it hasn't been sitting in the sun.
No, it's in my basement, but it's still got the plastic.
That's probably okay, as long as it wasn't melted by the sun.
It may be a nice shade of blue. You'll see.
So we'll bring this up at the next meeting for action.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Hopefully with a conclusion.
Okay, moving on to discussion and possible action regarding other items of concern. Ongoing discussion regarding potential education opportunities.
Yes, I assume the holidays got in the way of all the teachers' work, having been a teacher. So I'm gonna send out some follow-up emails from interested groups at the schools, to see if we can set up the meetings that they wanted to set up.
I also just talked with Commissioner Welsh. I was up at the New Hampshire Audubon Center in Concord recently. They are very proud of their new pollinator garden, which they've been working very hard on and have a lot of information about. And I thought that might be another useful sort of school project and/or community outreach project.
Because we did at one time have a small pollinator garden in Greater Woods,
That's very cool.
and has been since
Not maintained.
not maintained.
Okay.
Well, and it's also okay if you start a pollinator garden and then let succession take over and turn it back into forest, because it sounds like it was a disturbed area. But like you have a pollinator garden, you maintain it until the forest takes back over. Or you can keep it a garden. I mean, those are both options, just saying.
There is a specific spot in Wildcat that would be appropriate for this. So,
Good.
I also have flyers for kiosks that I'll pass around. Hopefully subcommittee members, you know how many kiosks are at the properties and can take an correct estimate-ish amount. I think I had 30 printed. But we'll pass these around. Just take as many as you think you have kiosks.
By the way, the next Greater Woods meeting is this week? It's like tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Okay.
yeah.
And when is Sklar meeting next?
I thought,
Probably next
yeah,
Monday.
usually it's the first Monday of the month.
Okay.
Oh.
I just wasn't sure how far out, because Horse Hill is not until March. I just.
Our January meeting never happened, and I don't, but it is the first Monday of the month. I have one more thing on the ongoing education. I don't know if this fits under this this topic or not. You and I both got an email from ComDev earlier this week about someone who is looking for us to help them with a project that some Girl Scouts want to do regarding invasive species. And I emailed her back and said, yes, we would be interested in helping out, but could you give me more information about exactly what the project is going to look like and what the end product is going to be? And I did say to her that you are welcome to come to one of our meetings if you'd like, if you think it would be helpful to give us some ideas about what it is you're doing. And I think that Kendall has already put it on the first meeting in February agenda. So hopefully by then I'll have more information about it, but I just figured since we're trying to reach out to the community, and we do have invasive species problems, that this is pretty good. These kids are very young, though. They're elementary school kids.
It's
7 to
okay, they
9
can,
years
they can
old.
spot
That's
things
all
that.
The lower to the
Yeah.
ground, they can see more weeds.
Yeah. That's only half a joke, because I discovered an invasive species I'd known nothing about when I was last spring in Horse Hill. I'm looking at all the pretty little things on the ground, and I saw a pretty little thing I hadn't noticed before, and I look it up, and it's garlic mustard, which will take over the entire understory if you don't beat it up, so.
It's, I believe it's similar to the burning bush. Like if you pluck it and just leave it on the ground, it's going to reroot.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gloving
it's
and pulling
really-
it up, and it's, right now it's limited, but, yeah.
The mustard, the UNH, and they have a big mustard pull every year.
So,
Yeah.
very happy
Early
to have
spring.
any volunteers who were looking into that, so I'll look forward to a response from the, to the email you sent, Tom. Thank you.
I have Scalar as the 3rd of February.
has anyone reached out to the NHACC or the New Hampshire Audubon or UNH Extension or anything, any other organization about whether we have statewide plans or practices or help for invasive species control? Because some of these are not really going to be handled by a couple of volunteers going out one Saturday and pulling plants.
What was that website? EDDS or what was it?
EDDS is where you report it,
Yeah.
and then anyone can use that data. but that's mainly all it is.
Yeah, I thought there was a like coordination thing on there too for
Oh,
support.
there's
I'd have to go back and look at it. Sorry.
something connected to UNH Extension,
Yeah.
maybe?
I think it's the edds.com, I believe, or .net, one of those two. And you can report invasive species, so it maps it. And you just report where you are and what you've seen. And then you can also, I believe you can go through and you try to post coordination efforts to when you're gonna be sponsoring activities to.
Yeah, I'd
So
love to
it's-
do a bio blitz
Yeah.
with, well, maybe that's something we can do with,
That's something that's great to do with kids.
yeah.
So we found, I just meant to bring this up a while ago, and I don't think I did. I found a gent in town who they've got this steam, they got a trailer that generates high-pressure steam, or low-pressure steam, I'd have to go back and read it. And they have it's like a walking sled, and you just get it over the area that is caused with invasives, and they steam the bejesus out of it and kill all the roots.
They
It's just
can-
steam.
They can kill the roots with it?
Yeah, well, it's,
Oh, we got
I mean,
some
it depends how-
multiflora rose in
how
Torres
deep
Hill.
right, so
above
that's the whole concept, is it kills it down below the surface of the ground and supposedly kills it, so, I meant to catch up with them, but I just forgot
That'd be,
about it.
I'd love to learn more
Yeah.
about that. If
I
you
know
get
they
more
have
information, bring
propane
it to me.
torches that do the same thing,
Yeah, but
but this is steam.
this is steam, yeah, this is a trailer, and with a boiler and everything, and a long tube and a little push cart, and you steam the ground.
Never heard of
Kills,
that.
yeah,
Wonder if that would work on climbing vines like kudzu.
uh,
Wildcat has a fairly significant infestation of kudzu right at the entrance gate.
probably if you cut it and just steam the bottom. You're not gonna drive a cart up a tree.
Okay, anything else regarding educational programs? All right, let's move to discussion regarding funding for surveillance cameras for Sklar property. Commissioner Welch,
We talked about that last time, too.
any more to add?
Someone was gonna contact the Fish and Game, to see if they could do weekly run-throughs. I think someone was gonna follow up with the police and ask them to put up game cameras for a while. And someone else was gonna ask the town commissioner about whether we can,
Town commissioner, town manager.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
I'm looking
remember.
at the minutes from the last meeting.
Yeah.
Commissioner Perry asked if it would be helpful to have a conservation officer do a weekly patrol. No follow-up was envisioned. And the police department had reported to you, Karis, that, it cannot be consistent surveillance from them.
Correct. It would only be temporary.
So I don't see, assignments for follow-up from the last meeting that was recorded, but,
I can take care of that. I can make those phone calls if you like.
okay.
Yeah,
We
I don't know
already
who.
We already know the police, but I can contact the town manager and just say, this is the problem we're having, do you have any suggestions for solutions? So I can do
So I had spoken to him
Okay.
about that before.
that. Okay.
And he had spoken with police, and that's basically what they said, was they could put the cameras out temporarily, rotate them through. But I believe last meeting, we talked about somebody getting some pricing or looking at cameras to purchase and have there.
Yep. I remember we said we didn't know where to start, and I still don't know where to start with that. I don't know who we would.
With looking at a purchase of cameras,
Well, yeah. Because there would also have to be the management of the security. And I don't know how any of that works. So I
I can,
just don't know.
I can start some kind of an inquiry about it.
Okay.
I don't even know where to begin yet, but I'll figure that out.
they're
That's sweet.
relatively easy to acquire, and fairly good ones are still quite inexpensive.
Yeah, but who would,
Did you
who
say
would want?
inexpensive?
Inexpensive. I mean,
Who would-
years ago, a couple of years ago, we bought one, it was $69, and it doesn't do cell or Wi-Fi or anything, but it's got a good camera on it, like 12 megapixels, and takes, 6,000 photographs on a card or something, and the problem is, of course, anywhere we put it, it's likely to be stolen or
I was
vandalized.
just gonna ask that
Yeah.
question, like, especially in Sklar.
Yeah.
They steal rocks from Sklar, so, if there's a camera available, they'll probably get it, unless there's a way that we can somehow camouflage it. I don't know if that's
I mean, how do
possible.
normal security cameras not get stolen? At stores and stuff, like outside stores?
Because they're built into
Yeah.
the store structure.
Okay,
Yeah, mounted on, they're not mounted on trees that can be,
yeah.
damaged.
Unwired.
Yeah,
It comes back to two, we've talked about this before, one, is that something in the charter, that we're supposed to be enforcing? And two, if we saw someone doing the wrong thing, none of us have the enforcement power to go down there and change that behavior anyhow.
But we can refer to police.
We can
because
do that now.
Right, it would,
we've had
but it
that-
would provide evidence to the
Yeah.
police.
We've had that problem in Wildcat before, where we've caught people doing things, and we've referred the information to the police. Whether anything happened, I don't know.
Can I ask, like, when you catch somebody doing something, how do you approach that?
Carefully. Because the one time that I remember, we approached two people on large dirt motorcycles in Wildcat, which is clearly not supposed to be
Yeah.
there. And we asked if they were aware of that, and their answer was, "Of course we are. What do you think you guys are going to do about it?" We decided at that point to just
Yeah,
remember their license plates and report them to the police.
okay. Good.
Yeah, this is something I heard about in another context this week, that the police would like to hear from us if there's a problem, so they don't get surprised later when somebody says, well, how come you haven't followed up? The
Yeah.
police can't do anything if they're not told.
Right.
Yeah,
And if they hear a number of reports for an area, they'll step up patrols in the area and they'll try to work with us on something.
We should probably just check with ComDev too, because a long time ago, we were told that our dealings with the police need to go through ComDev. So
Should
there's
go
a
through
record.
ComDev?
Yeah, so there was a record of the fact that we found an issue, reported it, and the town manager can continue the follow-up.
Oh, okay.
So we should probably just double check that that's how, if we're supposed to be doing that still, or if we're supposed to be doing some other method.
I'll email
Yep.
ComDev about that.
thank you, Ellen.
Because
Yes.
ComDev is the one that's responsible for, great places to live statistics,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's part of the reporting structure is incidents, so they wanted to know about it.
Okay, anything else on surveillance cameras?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to a discussion of long-term commission objectives, 5 or 10-year plans submitted by Commissioner Welsh.
I did actually bring my own laptop this time, which I checked has an HDMI port. My old one did not, so that would have been really unfortunate. If you guys are open to it, we can work on some sub-points under each of the
Sure.
items we came up with last time.
We have a computer available to us if it's on the thumb drive, or do you just want to use yours?
I just want to use
Okay.
Justin knows his way around a lot of stuff.
Step up, Justin, make sure the mic's on.
Excuse me.
This way I can have like the working document and send it out and.
You guys can see it up there.
It changed to no signal, and then it went, here we go.
There
Now
you
something's
go.
coming back.
While she's doing that, can I just bring one other thing?
Sure.
The signs that I have been trying to find, that I got a bee in my bonnet about, we have them now. They're at DPW. I've notified all of the subcommittee chair people that they're there. That was about a week ago. I've heard back from one, just acknowledging that he heard from me.
Are these
Is
the
it-
dog?
Yeah, the dog,
Clean up after your dog signs?
Are these gonna stay down at the town garage, or are they gonna go into our woodshed for storage?
I haven't really thought there was any need to move to,
Okay.
Says out of range.
what storage place do we have?
Over in Wassman?
Oh, over there.
Yeah, the
Actually,
woodshed.
that would be a better idea. That would be a better idea.
We just need to coordinate with,
Matt?
Parks and, Matt,
Yeah.
Parks and Rec too, when
Yeah.
we need the access to it, that's all.
Okay,
Because they got the key in the office.
right. I got some stuff that I gotta bring there anyway, so.
Let me know when you're going, because I could have sworn those little metal signs with the arrows.
Mike says they're not there.
I know, but
Okay.
I would have,
We're getting ASUS out of range.
I would have bet money that there was, I moved them out of my shed.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I have it, that it's sending the signal back to my computer just fine, so I'm not sure
Yeah, it's just telling us out of range.
what the difference would be.
Oh, I'll mention one of these goals near the bottom. I had mentioned that Horse Hill missed its 20th anniversary because of COVID. The subcommittee chair got back to me and said, don't try to do something this year, wait till the 25th so we can do it upright. So the subcommittee is more interested in pursuing a celebration later rather than this year.
What year will that be?
That would be 2 years from now, I believe.
So not too far.
80 acres is, because that probably goes back 40 or more years.
I can't remember it not being around for my kids.
Yeah, it's been, oh,
is it,
yeah, at least, I mean, it was
20th
before I was on the Concom.
It is, this year is 23 years, I
23.
believe, so
So
we're
they wanna go
looking
to
ahead to
25.
celebrate
Okay.
25. There's- We'll have everything nailed down, there will not be a rushed party. I just ticked off one.
Yeah, no signal.
But the screen did light up.
Who you laptop in closer, that'll be in range.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this a resolution issue?
That's what I was saying, I tried lowering the resolution, but Karis doesn't like that idea very much.
when I was teaching, at school, I used to always get, no, on my evaluations, I always got comments about, you need to use more technology in your classroom. That's the reason I didn't use technology in my classroom.
I work on the cutting edge of high technology and practically a Luddite at home. I have no technology in the house.
Let me just try something.
Well, you know what's worse than awful? Nothing.
How would you change it back? How? I can't even see the edge.
We just may have to do it the old-fashioned way.
I don't know what the old-fashioned way was.
Number one, long-range plan for management.
You can type and we can talk.
Nothing over there?
No.
So stupid computers, they never work right. There's always something
It's got a new
wrong.
graphics card. Sorry.
Okay. Lenovo, I'm never going back to because that is exactly always your problem.
Sorry, you can plug into this one if you want, email it, or you just type it in.
I'll just
whatever
type
is-
it, but I'm gonna see.
Sorry about that.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you for
sit
the
here
effort.
so
We
I can just
appreciate
see
it.
everybody. And then it's just easier. I mean, in theory, I can sit there and see everybody, but I can see everybody better here. Okay, long-range plan for management. If you guys have your copies from the minutes, then that's helpful. So we were thinking about long-range plan for like equipment. Do subcommittees have long-range plans? How do we support the structures that have been built on our properties? We need to build a maintenance schedule, blah, blah, blah. Okay, give me one sub-objective that we want to achieve like this. Do we want, or just sub-objectives? Do we want to go like objectives that we want to achieve this year, or just all sub-objectives and then we can select?
Well, this is a longer term objective of parking at Wildcat.
one that
Yes.
is probably like a short, very short. Gage mentioned a land commissioner, somebody to, that we could engage in acquisitions, yeah, land acquisition. There was something else you had with that, too.
Forester.
A forester.
And a forester. I think that's a good idea, and I think it's something that can be done, I think, in a fairly short period of time, I think.
Yeah, I do too. Because we have, and we did it a few years ago, and I have to, Tim Tenhade was chairman at the time. We put together an RFP for a forestry agent, and we went out to bid. So, I mean, we still have, we've got to have that RFP still. We can update it and put it out again.
I'm also adding, we need to have some sort of formal inventory of structures that need to be maintained. All the bridges, all the, benches, the structures built by Boy Scouts,
The observation
Everything that
decks,
needs to be
the
maintained.
bridges, the kiosks, everything.
kiosks.
And with regard to the forester, I think the town may already be working with forester. There was an item on the town council agenda.
Yeah.
Did that involve a forester?
So they are for that property that needs to be gone in and doing cutting where they're going across.
Mitchell Woods
Yeah,
and Watkins Forest.
Yeah. so they're working with someone there. So,
Yeah.
But they're hiring a forester to do that one job.
Mm.
We had a forester that was.
Right,
we
on
paid-
retainer basis?
That we paid on
Retainer.
retainer so we could manage,
Mhm.
the management plans and the, reference, hey, we need to go look at this parcel. When are you available,
Yeah,
type of thing, so. Who are they using, do you know?
yeah.
I don't know, but I can find
Yeah.
the name for you so you can at least let them know that they could put in a bid if you want.
Yeah, well, I'm just kinda curious if it's someone we know.
Yeah,
or we've
and at
dealt
least
with.
while they're in
Yeah.
town with equipment, maybe get a quote of,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be later in the year. I know they wanna do it when the ground is frozen, I think.
Okay.
So it sounds like maybe the end of next year that they're gonna be doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, and they're cutting Watkins,
Right.
not Mitchell. So if we wanted to cut Mitchell, we should do it at the same time.
mhm.
Because the trustee of the trust fund are managing that, they manage Watkins.
Yeah.
We're responsible for Mitchell.
Correct. So Chris Christensen is doing all the
Yeah.
contact on that. If you'd like me to, I can reach out to him if you like.
I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't review. I mean, it's kind of silly for them to have to come to us for permission to access that property. It's just, if we do it as a group, here you go, let's go.
Well, not to jump ahead, but number 2 on this list probably is gonna, any work we do there is gonna start with a forester. He's gonna,
Fields Farm.
yeah.
Yep.
He's gonna provide access,
Yes.
provide a trailhead, that sort of thing.
I also added for long-term management, inventory of invasives. We can work on like a bio blitz or something so that we can have an inventory of where we might want to manage. And ask subcommittees for the current management plans or to create one of like all the information, things like mowing and like any management. that
Maintenance
they-
items.
Maintenance, yeah.
So a question about maintenance of other things. You talked about like Mitchell, Mitchell Woods Conservation Area. What about the other small unnamed conservation areas that we have?
Yeah.
Like the one behind my house, 18 Woodward Road. And there's, a dozen others in town. Would we have a forester look at those to maintain also?
I suppose we could. I mean, there's a certain amount of access required
Yeah,
for maintenance. So, some of these things are landlocked. It's,
well,
You know,
I mean,
I
the
mean-
one at 18 Woodward has the same access Mitchell does. You can park on a road
Yeah.
and you're there.
Well, and even if it's landlocked, we have the right to request permission to access our property, right?
yes.
Maybe
I
not with
was,
big equipment,
I was
though.
thinking not with a logging truck,
equipment.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Fair.
yes, would someone let us walk across their yard? Yeah.
No, you just hook it with a hook and you drag
Yeah,
it.
that's all,
You
just
get
like that.
12 men, they just pull it, right?
One of those damn Clydesdales when we need them.
Someone in town has to have some.
Yeah, I mean, if we have parcels that are under our, auspices, then we should be managing them. or reviewing them at least for,
Right.
or we taking the Sierra approach? Wanna be?
Any quick thoughts here? We can always come back and add more after, in our next meeting if we can review and come back. But anything
Requesting
comes to head?
subcommittees to come up with, or to write down whatever they're doing now in terms of structure inventory would be helpful.
Okay,
Does-
awesome.
Do you how much have you used that EDDS site? Have you used it at all?
I've used it a few times myself, the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just trying to think of, instead of us trying to create a
Oh.
invasives
I'm
inventory,
saying we would absolutely,
use
EDDS,
Yeah,
yeah.
use some of those tools.
because we can access the data once it's in there.
Yeah.
Anyone can,
Yeah, okay.
definitely. Okay, moving on to Fields Farm. One is to find an access point,
No,
and two is manage the property.
Well, that was one
So-
that a year ago, I wanted to, by the end of this year, absolutely have something settled for Fields Farm, as we know that the access is not what we intended for it to be. I visited the property with a member of the Horse Hill Subcommittee who knows it well, and what I found was it is
It's
being
being
managed
used.
by the people, and the people who are using it, while we were there, I think it was last April, deadfall had been cleared away, and the trails were being used by mountain bikers who were doing the cleanup.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, if we are to do anything more with it, access is going to be a headache, and the first thing that's going to have to be done is it's going to have to be either surveyed or forester look at it or something, because right now, we are not in a position to tell people to park there. Horse Hill is
No,
it.
definitely not.
Horse Hill is it.
there's no parking for it
Mhm.
right now at all.
I
So
mean,
to me, for Fields Farm, the first thing, if we're gonna do anything, first thing is we need to have a subcommittee for Fields Farm.
I have a question. I mean, we don't need all of our properties to be trail park access places. Like, as a conservation commission, we can also manage properties that
Yep.
we generally don't want people on.
That's right. Not all of our properties are meant to be managed for public access and recreation.
Right,
Like
so maybe
Mitchell, for
that's
example.
something to establish with this property, given there's no,
The problem is it's being used.
it
heavily.
is.
Heavily.
So where are they
So-
parking?
Horse Hill.
They're often parking at Horse Hill and going across the street and scooting across the end point of someone's private property to get in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we have complaints by people about that?
None have been brought to our attention.
Well, we've had a conversation with that homeowner.
Recently?
They just, no,
Okay.
recently, no, a couple of years ago, that, like, you are not, you have not posted your property, you are not responsible, if they do something, you're good.
What does that mean? You've not posted your property?
They've not,
do
their landowner liability is as long as you don't post your property as no trespassing and someone uses your property, the state is, you're not liable for any
Oh.
injuries, and as long as you haven't done anything to try to promote
As
access.
long as it's not an attractive nuisance.
Yeah.
That's part of the state's heritage of open land.
As long as it's not attractive. I haven't had enough sleep to understand that. Okay. So what you're saying is, if people go on someone else's property, it's not the property owner's problem, as long as they haven't somehow invited people to come onto it.
Basically, yes.
Okay, so don't build a park and invite people in.
Well, don't build a park and then expect no one to show up.
Yeah.
Don't build a park.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
You know, obviously your backyard, people, you don't have people coming up into your backyard and playing on your swing set, but.
I hope not.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, that there's some reasonable access point. I mean, like, if you're walking through the woods and you walk across someone's property and they don't know you're there, they don't know, that you were there, you're not doing
Right,
anything.
right.
You
It's
tripped
not-
and fell. It's-
okay.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, I appreciate that.
yeah.
So right now, there's no direct access from Amherst Road into the property that, like, the Conservation Commission land doesn't go all the way up to Amherst Road, is that
I
the
was
issue?
brought in on a piece of land right across from a pond. It's not a signed area, but it was the way in. And I do not know if that is, this
The
is.
only thing, I've been there, I think, twice, and I parked on one of the side streets on the other side of Amherst Road, so I had to walk down the side street. across Amherst Road, and it's very close to, the sides, there's two side streets that are in close proximity to Horse Hill. I think it was the second one. So, and I walked straight across the road, and I entered that way.
Let's go get a map and look at it,
Yeah.
get a parcel map.
And as for a subcommittee, I know that the Horse Hill Subcommittee has discussed it in the past, and while I'm not prepared to speak for the whole thing, I can tell you that this is chicken or the egg. The subcommittee doesn't want to, Horse Hill is not eager to take on Fields Farm without knowing what they're supposed to do. And some people might think we need a subcommittee in order to find out what to do. So that's where the Horse Hill Subcommittee is right now. I don't know if we need a completely separate one for Fields Farm or not.
It's a fairly good-sized piece, and
Yeah.
it's got, again, it has a lot of activity, and it's got a lot of waterfront. So it's going to have some different requirements
Yeah.
than a lot of the other parcels.
It's close to 100 acres, isn't it?
I believe it's over that, isn't it? I think it's just
It took
over.
us a while to walk it,
Mm.
which I could not have done without someone already familiar with it, because it's not signed,
No.
not signed, not blazed. There's some obvious trails that are being maintained, but, yeah. It's as primitive as we've got while people are still using it.
And, and conservation areas that are in that state, they'll need a lot of work for a couple of years to get the trails surveyed, marked, maintained, constructed and repaired to be up to their usage level, and then the work sort of tapers off.
So I don't know if any of those things can be done in the short term.
They seem like things we can begin in the short term. So finding an access point requires basically just talking to a surveyor or hiring a surveyor to figure out if there are any technically accessible
Yeah, I mean,
points.
we need to just see where we can physically put one. You know, I mean, before you have a surveyor in there, I mean, we can go through and do some of the basics and say, yeah, you know, there's,
Okay.
you know, we have access from the road. We're allowed to have a curb cut here. We're allowed to do these things.
That's
do
a
you have
Fields
it?
Farm map, surveyed by
So-
Meridian. There is land abutting Amherst Road, but there's no
There's no
Yeah.
curb cut.
curb cut.
This is, no. This is what I'm talking, this is where they're going across to get it. They're going, the Horse Hill parking
Yeah.
lot's right here, and they're going across that little,
Okay,
this person's property right there. to get in.
okay, because that's where I went in,
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, so you did the same thing,
Okay.
Understand what I'm talking about.
so. That's Fields Farm.
Yeah, that is the Fields Farm property as surveyed by Meridian for the Conservation Commission.
Farmer Road's right here, the Horse Hill parking lot's right here. They're going down and there's.
So when you say there's no curb cut, you mean there's no spot where the curb isn't?
There's no,
If we're gonna put a-
there's no designated obvious entrance way.
Yeah, we need to go and get permission to put a road in that accesses Amherst Road.
Okay.
And that
But
road would be our
Does
access
the
point.
property directly abut Amherst Road?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
It's right
So we could, so like,
It's not just a matter of saying we want a road in. The topography and the,
right,
and
okay, so
and
that is
water there is a
something with
factor.
you do need a surveyor to.
Well,
Absolutely.
we actually happen to have a land, a road agent.
Don't lose that, it's my only
No,
copy.
What is a road agent?
So we have our town engineer is highly skilled. She's very good at what she does, and she actually can build roads,
Okay,
done Toowoomba. So she's,
so do we contact the town
Well-
engineer?
yeah, we can start looking at this, I guess.
Okay, so that's one of our short-term tasks is contact the town engineer about this.
Yeah, she's the head of DPW.
Oh, okay. Head of DPW. Do we have a name here?
Dawn.
John.
Done Toowoomba.
DAWN, TUOMALA.
Okay,
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
all right, awesome.
I could be totally wrong, but I'm very confident.
So we have a short-term task. Number 3, community outreach. We already have a lot of sub-points here. Does anybody have a specific short-term goal within that that isn't already listed?
This might be too specific, but Winter Carnival.
Speaking of which,
I asked to put that on the agenda for this evening. I was too late.
Okay.
So it's going to be on the next meeting, but please keep in mind the Winter Carnival's coming up in February, and if anyone would like to
I
consider.
believe the
Okay.
Winter Carnival is before our next meeting.
I think it's, our next meeting
No, our
is
next
2
meeting
weeks
is on
from
the
today.
27th. It's
Yeah.
on the 8th.
Yeah.
The VFW
So,
has a table down there.
Keep
too.
in mind before the next meeting, if you'd like to volunteer, or if you've done it in the past and have things to offer. But Winter Carnival is a good outreach opportunity that comes every
Yeah.
year.
I will volunteer to do that next, well, just email me.
If Winter Carnival is one of our goals, am I understanding that correctly?
If it is a part,
Under
community
community
outreach.
under
outreach.
community outreach.
Okay, oh, okay, I got it.
Do we have a table reserved?
I am not aware of one,
I think we,
but Eric may have been communicating.
the email came to me, so I sent
Okay.
it to Eric, and, just because I reserved
Okay.
it last year, and he did reserve it. It is
Okay.
2 weeks earlier this year, though, in the hopes that there'll be snow. Because when there is snow, the attendance is usually really
Much
good,
better.
and
I'd
that's a good
prefer to
sledding.
be
in.
outside in the cold when there's snow.
Mhm.
You're right.
I'm gonna be out there, there better be snow.
Thank you for the reminder. Yes, Eric did say that.
Okay, number 4,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
refresh and maintain connections with other community groups. So specific things would be taking a page out of Litchfield's book and having us attend other conservation commission meetings, like
Yeah, that was
Visit
one of them.
to-
Yep. And I would enjoy doing that.
yeah. Visit equal or greater than 2 other commission conservation meetings.
I can tell you that NEMBA's already built in with Horse Hill because we have a member who is also on the Mountain Bike Association. So on the subcommittee level, there's an ongoing working relationship that benefits the property.
That's awesome.
And I know the Milton Conservation Commission's version of Matt. He's their trail builder.
Could a sub goal be to set up a meeting specifically with, like a brainstorming meeting or just a connection meeting specifically with each of the listed community groups? And have a goal for that meeting? Or just have like a yearly meeting with all those groups? Do you know what I mean? Like a yearly meeting with community groups.
So do you want to set up a regular meeting with each of these groups?
Or like one meeting with a representative from those groups, or
Oh.
like with, whoever can and may attend, to discuss how we can work with them.
The
Michael
Laverne
Laverne,
Foundation,
yes.
Michael Laverne Foundation.
Wildcat,
They've done quite a bit for Wildcat.
Just to discuss how we can, work together.
So you're suggesting one meeting where a representative from each of those groups comes together,
Yeah,
or
is that
one?
too much? That was what
It
I
might
was
be
suggesting.
easier to get members of the commission visiting them rather than
Okay.
get other people
was just
Okay.
to
gonna-
come to
yeah.
us.
Okay, so have commissioners go yearly to meet with each community group.
And
discuss
the
how we can work together.
Wildcat Subcommittee speaks with Mr. Laverne quite frequently. We are in good touch with them.
But I can
Yeah, so
see an
that one's
advantage.
already established, right? Like that's a regular established connection. How do I spell that?
Laverne,
Yeah.
Loverme.
And the V is capital.
Are there any already strongly established relationships?
Nemba and Laverne.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm good friends with a couple folks in the Historical Society.
Okay.
And Spalding would be included under Historical Society, is that correct, Spalding site?
I would think that would probably be a good place for it to
I would think discussions about that would certainly be good.
just
So
in
I think a
case.
sub point there would be commissioners volunteering to
Yep.
be the representative to various groups. Okay, number 5, assess
So,
current inventory.
Before we move off that one, is it reasonable to think that maybe at some point we should start thinking about talking to neighbors and abutters of our properties, with the possible exception of Wildcat, unless we have Kevlar, to see what they think about living next to one of our properties and something they like, something they don't like, something they might suggest, whether they'd be interested in being on a subcommittee?
That definitely seems like a great community outreach option, right? Something for community outreach.
I can tell you this, Andrew, I live on the border of Greater Woods. There's a stone wall behind my house. I step over the stone wall, I'm in Greater Woods. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I also know we're gonna have a few people very unhappy, so.
always.
But working to keep those relationships is good. I remember
Yes.
when we built the North Side Trail in Horse Hill, there was a little piece of property belonging to the Conservation Commission, but it was right next to someone's house and had not been used in years. And the team to build the trail approached the homeowner, and as it turned out, it was a different homeowner from the one who'd owned it when Horse Hill was open, and it established a good relationship. And
Good.
because they went to the person before they started tramping through
Right, right.
the strip of land.
Well, the same happened at Wildcat when we built the North Loop Trail. There's an abutter that was basically right there, and we approached him beforehand and said, how close would you be
Yes.
comfortable having a trail? And he came out and looked and said, well, over here would be okay, so we built a trail over there, and we've had no issues.
That's brilliant, yeah. Yeah, so maybe doing a one meeting every year where we specifically invite those people to come and have a conversation and tell us, what's going well, what's a struggle. This is not a venting session, but let us know. Right,
I think if we
That's what
invite
the
them, it will
challenge-
turn
it's
into.
gonna
a
be
It will be a
session.
venting session.
Yes,
it will be. Yes, it will be.
Yeah,
You could just have personal conversations,
Yeah.
like somebody can
Encourage
reach
the
out.
subcommittees especially to build relationships with the homeowners there. But I love it, that is how we get some of our volunteers, is people who live on the edges, like the Batistes.
And
Why
it could
not?
be as simple as putting some flyers in the mailboxes along the roads.
Which is illegal.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
to contacting people, I get that.
Yes.
Go knock on the door.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5, assess current inventory of documents in that bathroom.
I have to say, in that bathroom looks funny, but I understand what you mean.
Yes, I
The
was-
storage area within Community Development Office.
Yes. That's not an appropriate storage area, but, because it's not accessible. They don't let us go in there.
I can go in there.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a men's room, that's right.
Can you tell me exactly where that is? Where is that room?
Downstairs in the other building.
In the other building's downstairs,
The,
it's the, one of the bathrooms downstairs behind community development.
so you have to go through ComDev to get to it?
Go through
Has to.
ComDev,
Yeah,
go
right,
through
yeah, it's behind the
a
locker room.
men's bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what would be the steps in assessing the current inventory? Someone would have to physically go in there.
Yeah. And write things down.
Can we digitize it?
Do you have time to digitize it? I assume that would mean frame by frame.
Um,
And some of these documents are 200 pages long.
so I did this for a summer. I did digitize.
I think we've all, a number
university.
of us may have done that for different projects, and we do not look back on it fondly. I can only speak for myself.
It was fond. you know, 3 hours at a time. I was 22. I had nothing else to do with my time and I was getting paid for it. Can we hire someone to digitize it?
Well, I think
Do we have the facilities to do it? I mean, what do we,
You just need a photocopier with a scanner and
Or take a picture and upload it,
yeah.
one page at a time.
no,
Is it
we
worth
need,
assessing,
because you just take out the staple, you put it on the top and it just go, it's fast.
It
I don't
won't
know
work-
what you had to
won't
do. Did
work
you have
for
to
bound-
hold it and-
It
What's it
won't
do?
work for bound material, but it will work for stapled
Yes.
material.
Correct.
What's it do?
is it worth assessing what we have to decide whether we need to
Yeah,
digitize it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have
So
some
first
things
step.
that we have multiple copies of, others we have one copy of, others we have big, major documents that
Again, so
haven't
it's
been
right back
updated.
to making the assessment. Someone's gonna go
Mhm.
spend the day in the John and
Okay.
get what's on there.
Is that where our non-public are too? Because we probably have a lot
I
of those
think
that we
those
could.
may be under lock and key, because I remember when I came on board, I went down there and looked through stuff, and I did not see anything marked non-public,
There,
so.
there shouldn't really be much marked non-public, because after the transaction is completed,
Then it's all
we,
public.
we vote to put them back in public and they go back into the meeting minutes. So
Because
there's-
I did not find
Yeah.
anything
I
marked
don't know
off
how, I
limits.
think we skipped that step. I was the chair for 4 years and we never took something out and dealt with it.
Yeah, we did. We didn't, how many non-public, we didn't have that many non-publics. We didn't buy
Maybe
much,
not.
we didn't buy much property.
Okay, I have a question. But let my brain remember the question first.
Take notes.
Okay, once we would digitize, well, in any form of the documents,
She knows something.
how can commissioners have ready access? Like if it were digitized,
Yeah, right.
how do
Presumably-
town employees access digitized town materials?
That's a great question. That's a good, that, right now our access is, hey, ComDev, can you guys find this for me?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I'm gonna ask,
Yeah.
how does a town employee, for example, ComDev,
Well, they have
Access-
servers, so
Digi-
s- whatever's
Right.
digitized, they can access that
Right, but
way.
like, what's the medium? What's the, how do they do the search? How's it cataloged? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's not
And-
just raw files.
Yeah.
You know, there's gotta be some, so, can you wanna use a good example? And it'll benefit us?
what do you mean a good example of
Well,
what?
so if you're gonna ask them, how do you find the RFP that we put out together for the forester?
There you go.
What the what?
The
RFP,
request for proposal.
request for proposal that we put together as MCC, we put together for a forester.
So you're saying how would we access that?
Yeah,
What
no, but I
would-
asked.
We know it exists.
We know it exists.
So
we need it.
currently we ask ComDev to find it, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying, so you're asking them, use
I
that
would
as an
like-
example. And see,
Ask
have them show
them how
you,
they would find
Oh.
and have them show you how to do it, so you can.
Okay, tell me what this is called again?
This is a request for proposal that we put together. Tim Tenhave was the chairman at the time, and we were meeting in the other room, and we interviewed foresters, and we hired a forester.
Is it just called request for proposal
It was an RFP for a forester, yeah.
for forestry? Okay,
We
So-
did ultimately end up hiring Bay State.
Do
basically,
you have a rough time
we're
scale?
not paid employees, but we do get town emails. Is there any way, they'll show me and I'll say, is there any way the town will let us have access to any part of the server? Specifically.
No, we already
or-
do for email.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is
But documents, somehow
Yes.
access documents relative to us so that we can get done.
right, so we can search without having to go through
Okay.
ComDev.
Engage's example is the perfect one because we're about to reinvent that wheel.
Right.
Yeah, just, if you want to ask them
Yeah,
about access, use that.
okay.
Teach a man to fish.
Well, I'm like, there, it seems like we cause a lot of work for them that we just could just do it ourselves. That would be
And
nice.
at the same time, they want to know what we're up to because they are
Yes.
the town department
That's true.
responsible for overseeing planning, zoning, and conservation. So two-way communication is good. However, I would
important.
love to be able to access some reference documents without having to
Right,
to
exactly.
pester someone.
Exactly. So not everything, but like
Reference
some
documents.
things, reference documents. Okay, 6. land acquisition agent. We want to make connections between properties, we want to make a greenway, we need a point person with,
The Forest Society.
okay. Okay. Break this down for me here. I can't spell I still can't spell acquisition.
Did okay here.
Oh man, right, it's spelled right on there. Just copy, oh my gosh. Guys, I didn't sleep a lot last night. Okay. So, one step is we want a land acquisition agent. Is that correct?
Well-
Like, we want to hire somebody, or we want someone to be a point person?
I would rather it be someone, one of us,
Okay.
or someone in town that's, I don't want to say beholden to us, but working on our behalf, working on the town's behalf to support. You know, we have master plan, we're in the master plan for the town. And there are properties in the town's master plan that we're supposed to be going after. And, I mean, we've talked to some of these people. We haven't talked to some of them in a couple of years. I mean, we need to keep up with them and keep those communication avenues open so they understand what's
Okay.
going on in the town and.
So I have a question, raise your hand if anybody on this committee has time to be a land acquisition agent.
I'm unable to do that.
Well, at the risk of killing myself, the next section of that, tax map 5C lot 659, I assume that's the other part of Wildcat along
Yes.
the highway. So
Oh, yeah.
I've been involved in that now for 10 years, and I guess I can at least continue looking into that now that Tim
Okay.
Tenave isn't around.
So that's something specific that you can be the agent for?
Yep.
Okay. Based on what else we are able and unable to get done, I don't think anybody on the commission seems
A
able.
lot of it's phone calls and emails, but it's not an everyday thing.
It's not.
It's not.
I don't know about.
I mean, it's a,
I don't have the time to commit to learn how to do it. I don't, like, I know squat, I don't even know what we're talking about, like, I don't have the time to commit to learn it. And most of you have jobs outside of this.
Only for 6 months and 18
I'm
days.
I'm
You're gonna
retired, I don't have a job, I have some time on my hands that
Sorry,
I
was
could,
my mic on?
and by the way, you don't have a job, but you have children.
Oh, do I have, yes, exactly, do I have a job, a non, an
I have a
unpaid,
sweatshirt of a
no-pay
woman
job.
with 5 little bears saying, "Every mother is a working mother," and I'd be happy to hand that to you, knowing
Oh,
it would
yeah.
go to a good,
Yeah,
good
please.
home.
You watch my kids all day and let me do some brain work, yeah, no, I'd love to.
So, is, Andrew, did you volunteer to do this?
I'll at least start
Okay.
learning some of it
Okay,
with reference to this particular parcel. So
okay.
I know we're in ongoing negotiations with the state about it, so I'll keep looking into that. That will be an excuse to educate myself on how some of this works.
If you feel you need an assistant, yeah, I can, volunteer to help you out.
Okay, and you mentioned the town master plan. How do I get a hold of that?
That is on the town
on
website.
the
There's a
town
link
website.
to that. It might be the town council. It's either the town council page or ComDev, but it is available on the town website in the sidebar.
That falls under planning board.
Okay.
Yeah. We have, and if you look at our map of areas of concern, of natural concern, we've got high priority areas in town. Well, that's not, we have high priority areas in town that we're supposed to be pursuing,
Okay,
you know?
these are just open lots that,
In areas that
you know,
if they come on the
If they
market.
come up for sale, if
Huh.
they're, and even, I mean, we have people in town that own property that, when they pass, they're going to will it to something,
okay.
and they often don't want it to be, they like it in its natural state. And they can take, their trusts or their personal estates can take tremendous write-offs donating property.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
they
how
get
do
the
we
value.
know when a property comes up for sale as a high priority?
That's why we have non-public.
Yes, properties always are discussed non-public.
Yes, but
That's in
how do we
personnel.
know that, like, how does any of us know, how does the commission find out that a property went up for
That's
sale?
why we
need an
we should have, one of us actively should be back doing land agent type of work.
So you're basically building relationships with these people, so you get to know them and know
Yep.
What their
plans
goals
are.
are.
So we're not just waiting for a Zillow listing to show
No.
up on.
That's exactly what I was
So,
wondering.
so perfect example is take Fields Farm, right?
Yeah.
There's 97 acres, there was supposed to be 7 or 8 acres, right, that parcel
I
around
think
the
it was like
community?
20 something.
Yeah. it
Whatever,
was-
yeah.
Okay, there's acreage there. We discussed it with the builder, they were gonna have common land, the deed was incorrectly written, you know, that's not our fault, but that was prior to that neighborhood being developed. We had an agreement with the developer to take over that property once the neighborhood was done. The same thing with Old Blood Properties over by the school. There's their common property around the backside
Yeah,
that we're managing.
so that's,
That's the property that they did not sell as part of the neighborhood. And
Right.
it's swampland, which is fine, it's swamp, but that's,
Works for us.
we're Concom, we love swamp.
It's full of
So-
wildlife.
Yeah, it's exactly, so I mean, we communicate with people.
okay. Somebody communicate with people about property. That's what I'm writing as the objective, because
Yeah.
that's what I have. Okay,
And just to note, so the master plan can be found both under planning board and also under community development on the website. And we will be, it's up for review, so that'll be happening this coming year.
work to reduce fragmentation.
Yeah, this had to do with the width of the corridor, if you've got human traffic, I assume.
That's on the micro scale. So there's A, within properties, and B, within the town. So that would be buying up the small pieces of properties that would connect larger pieces of properties would be the,
Which brings up again, it's time to find that map or listing of properties that are high value as determined by the last inventory.
GZA
Yeah.
document.
yeah.
I have that. I can certainly send that back
Yeah,
out.
Thank
and
you.
that's, well, it should, it's on, isn't it on our website?
Hmm,
I believe it's on maps, I think it's one of our websites, isn't it?
Okay.
The maps?
the GZA one?
I thought
Because
so.
it sounds like a lot of what we're going to do is going to depend on where these properties are.
So something we need to do is literally analyze the map. And I know that there are big spots we want, but they're too expensive. Many of them are too expensive to purchase and too valuable. So someone else is gonna purchase them inevitably if they're not deeded to us or something. But there are probably other smaller pieces that we could purchase, right? That
So
would-
usually when we discuss land acquisition, we do it in non-public,
Yes, well, I'm not given any specifics, I'm just saying like in
except our
general.
master plan.
In general, though,
So if we're gonna make a master plan for land acquisition, we probably should do that in non-public.
yes.
Okay. So, we're talking about fragmentation right now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
We're not, no longer, we're not talking about acquisition?
Nope.
Because I was gonna suggest, now that we've got an agent, we could do that too. I mean, it seems to me that there's an overlap there between the fragmentation.
Very much.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, within properties, we can,
The chief thing we have for fragmentation right now is the town center trail linking to Wildcat. That
Yep.
is a fragmentation concern right there. Dealing with that and smoothing the relationships that are involved among all the parties should be
And I think
should be
that-
very high priority for us.
And that's mostly been handled with the exception of the school.
Yes. But I think it's
Okay.
all moving parts. We can't take each other for granted.
can you explain that again?
Fragmentation includes what we already have. You look at the town center trail, it has town, school, state, and conservation commission properties all involved. any interruption in one of those relationships that reduces access, public access, parking, whatever, that is a fragmentation concern. So making sure, if we want one at-hand project, is to make sure that everybody's talking to everybody else and that the public can use the property without,
Okay, when I
Without
say
blockage.
fragmentation, we mean wild, like keep.
I know, but,
So I don't think I understand.
before let's see how we can handle fragmentation right here with the problem that's already on our plate. That's good practice for any other fragmentation thing.
I don't
So
think I
there are
know this
both
problem.
forms that you're talking about.
You want wildlife access, you want to have corridors for wildlife.
Right,
But right now, we have a piece of property impacted by multiple concerns along the way.
what is Town Center Trail?
The Town Center Trail is the one at Watson Park that was recently dedicated. It goes from Watson under the highway
Right,
up to the high school.
and
And
what's the
from
problem
there,
with
it links
And
to
then
Wildcat
The
School.
school district owns the piece by the high school, then the state owns the piece from the high school to Wildcat, and then we own Wildcat.
And we also own a 1 acre parcel right behind the high school.
That's right.
Which we don't.
But for
So-
example, if the high school or the school district suddenly decided to make that area no trespassing, we've now severed a whole bunch of our trails and we can't use them.
Okay,
So they have to be happy.
Yes.
So, there's a trail, but anybody who owns a piece of that trail could suddenly say, no, you can't use the trail anymore?
Yeah, that's the thing about
Yes.
ownership. You can determine what to do with your property.
Why is there a trail at all if they're like,
Because we agreed to the extent that there is an interest in preserving some conservation and recreation access to the Sauhegan River.
okay,
Even if it's just as a scenic thing, that river is the uniting factor.
okay. So we need to keep relationships open to keep the trail open.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And then for other areas, we need to maybe make some relationships with people who might own parcels. And they may not even be local. It may be somebody who lives in Wyoming, but just happens to own a family parcel here in town, and
And then, another goal under that is we need to educate ourselves on that thing. You
with
learned
the,
about-
with the wildlife, and that if you have a trail with people on it, there's a certain
Yes.
distance.
The, basically on how to reduce fragmentation due to trails.
That's within a particular area.
within a
And that should
property.
probably be more the purview of the subcommittees, but maybe we can give some guidance and some
Yes,
information to help
right.
them decide. Because most subcommittees, I know at Wildcat, we can't really move any of the trails because they are where they are. But larger parcels like Greater Woods or Horse Hill can possibly move some trails to provide not only better coverage within Horse Hill, but passage through the town across Horse Hill.
So possibly
wildlife.
we could bring someone in to educate the subcommittees. We could like do something that could. Yes, that.
Gage, did we lose
Jennifer
part
saw
of,
who I was pointing
Horse-
at.
I mean, part of Greater Woods when they did that big, huge development that, by the middle school? Because I seem to remember taking a trail, I can't, the
Was it
Ridge
Ridge?
Trail,
Yeah,
and it all of a
Skyline.
sudden comes to an end.
Skyline. Skyline went onto Old Blood property.
Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't,
Chestnut Hill Development bought
yeah,
that property.
yeah.
And the Skyline Trail, part of it did go up onto private property.
It's gone, I mean, that part of the trail is now no longer.
Both sections are still there. Because
Okay.
some people from the neighborhood are actually using it and they've kept it open,
Okay.
so. But
Okay.
it's, I would have to go back and look at the map and see if I don't think it's been changed on the map.
Yeah, I just, it seems to me that I remember,
Yeah.
walking, Ridge Trail was the trail I was walking on. Which-
Well, yeah, Ridge Trail, and then it gets up to Skyline.
Right, right.
Skyline goes off of Ridge.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
I've never been able to get off Ridge Trail on the other end without coming into civilization. But that's a whole, like, another
Skyline,
conversation, yeah,
not Ridge, Skyline.
okay.
Ridge stays on the property.
Okay, that's,
You know, when you walk up, you walk up onto that little grove of aspen, of the pines,
Yeah.
and it starts to curl back down towards the middle school. Skyline goes up to your
okay,
left.
okay, yeah, yeah, okay, I know what you
Yeah.
mean now, yeah,
Yeah, that's the one that ends up on
okay.
private property.
Okay, so we're done with this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna, before I send it to everyone, I'm gonna highlight like the first steps under each of the 7 long-term goals. Like what do we have to do first if we gave something that was clear, like first tasks? Or what are we currently working on under each of them? And then I'll send it out. And those are the things that we can talk about next. Sound good?
When Counselor Jobin talks about the master plan is now being on, that's something that we don't have a formal role in, but that's something we need to be aware of.
Okay.
And without having a calendar to put this on, I just think we should keep our antenna up, and if there's opportunities to listen in on the process, we can do that.
Naive question, why don't we have a role in the town master plan?
I do not know the process, so I can't answer that.
Falls under planning board, I believe, so I'm not sure if there's any interaction or, questions go back and forth or not. I can certainly, whenever I hear something coming up, I mean, it's in the budget so it's not coming up in the next 6 months, so.
Because I was,
'Cause I
a
know it's
little,
a
I'm not quite
process.
sure the emotion, maybe disappointed or startled, when the commissioner from Litchfield Conservation Commission came in and showed the aerial view of his town, where other than like the 6 conservation areas they have, pretty much every square foot of the town is built on it. And that's, I shudder to think what would happen to Merrimack if we came into that situation.
Well, south central New Hampshire, there's a lot of build-out that towns further upstate don't have to be concerned about, but yeah.
And I think it's something we have a potential to address before we get there.
We're also quite a bit larger than Litchfield.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. The next item is the annual seedling purchase. Commissioner Perry.
So, we have partial order completed. ComDev, it's not, there was not an issue with timing this year. It's just the simple fact that there's so many people now buying from the nursery. They run out of things.
Even earlier than we thought.
Yeah, even earlier than normal, and it's also, they're still having problems getting, the amount of crops that they were expecting. They've still had a lot of problems with freeze and issues like that, so their number of plants is down. Their prices are up and everywhere. I mean, we're
Supply and demand.
supplying, well, not so much supply and demand, but just inflation, I think more. I mean, they've been very cheap for a long time, and they've started to become more in tune with
Market.
market prices. So we have a $450 or so of money spent. I know we put aside 600. We're down into the 300 value of quantity of trees. We gave away almost 500 last year. So a little bit of a turning point. Do we want to try to get to that same level last year? Or do we want to just kind of, sell what we have,
Well,
or give away what we have?
what's unallocated so far? We approved 600.
We approved 600, and I'm,
I think it's like 450.
yeah, I think we're somewhere around 450.
Okay.
It was, I'm sure I should have had this ready for it, but,
And I'm very glad you pointed out that the state nursery does not have to ship it to us from Boscawen at a cost of $150.
Yeah.
You can take care of it yourself. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
yeah, we can.
I'd fit them in my Corolla for that price.
Yeah, it's,
And they would
It's-
fit.
it's worth the trip just to go up there because, I'm sorry, that sign cracks me up. State prison, do not pick up pick
Yes.
do not pick up hitchhikers. So, yeah, $478.
Okay.
So we're close to $500. So that's leaving us just about $100 left to get a couple more plants. This only is, we have 10, 30, 50, 100, 150. There's about 250 plants, 300 plants there. So the values have gone up, the cost has gone up enough that it's significant, and our typical $600 purchase is seemingly a little on the light side now.
Okay.
So, if we're gonna stay with the 300 or so plants,
So to stay with the number of plants that we've had in the past, we're going to need to spend more money than what we've allocated so far.
yeah.
And we'd have to use a different vendor?
Well, yes, but that's easy to find, that's easy. We have,
Arbor Day Foundation
we
was
have
more
Arbor Day
helpful.
Foundation, we have the Hillsborough County,
Extension.
extension that we bought plants from last year. So there's a number of other places around that we can buy these plants from. So that's not an issue. It's just a matter of,
So if someone wishes to authorize the commission to spend more money, there would be a motion to allocate whatever amount from Fund 53 for the acquisition of seedlings for our sale. Does that sound right?
yeah.
I'm prepared to entertain a motion.
So we have roughly $100, a little over $100 left now.
And what's the amount we're trying to get to?
In order to reach the number
Yeah,
that we've had in the
The
past.
plant count?
No, the dollar count. I'm thinking about the motion.
Yeah, so I have roughly $100 now
Yep.
left. And, been dealing with the Hillsborough County extension. We're probably gonna get somewhere around another 100 plants maybe, if we can find them at the right price,
With the money you still have.
with the money we still have. So that'll put us we'll still be below what we gave away last year.
Okay.
So perhaps may I move to authorize another $200 from Fund 53 to purchase additional seedlings for this year's seedling giveaway?
What was the amount?
An additional 200?
200?
So moved? Any second?
Seconded.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? 700.
So I have a question. Last year, how many seedlings did we allow people to take?
Depends on the
5.
time of day.
Okay.
We announced 5.
past
the
hour of
Can we announce fewer, given the success, and so that more people can participate? Can we cut it down to 3? I mean, how many trees, honestly, was I gonna plant each year?
Well, sometimes people will come knowing that not all of the plants are gonna make it.
Oh, okay.
So if I get,
Oh, all of my plants
5.
made it every time.
I want your magic dust. But that can be
Okay.
determined
Yeah,
later.
we can determine that.
Okay.
That's literally a number on the flyer. so-
That's an
Okay, yeah.
admin thing.
Okay.
Okay.
It gets closer if you want help picking them up.
All right, that brings us to approval of minutes from the December 9th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Gage, Andrew.
Line 204.
Line 204.
I think
I
it's
think I'm
supposed to say
before
likely,
line
not unlikely.
204.
That's all right.
I
Just-
can't
Line
get
204.
numbers to come out online, because I don't have a PC with Word on it.
No, that's a you problem.
It's likely that this would occur on a schedule that is too sporadic.
What was it, line 204, what?
Line 204 should say likely, not
Yeah.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Would need some help, but it would be likely,
It's like
Yep.
a German sentence you have to read to the end to realize.
likely.
object to that.
Do you have any others? I have a
No,
few.
no, no, nothing wrong with the sentence.
I have
It's just-
one,
Please.
line 73. I believe that,
Had a go at the end. That's what I.
Oh, yeah, a few months ago.
a few months ago,
yes.
yes, thank you.
And I have one on line 59. The L-CHIP program, I believe that's the LCIP.
Yes,
LCIP,
yeah.
okay.
I have line 68, Commissioner Dwayne, ER.
68. What was it again?
Yep, 68, you need ER on Commissioner Dwayne. It
There's
says
Oh, commission,
L-CHIP and
okay.
there is L-CHIP.
Okay, so there's an LCHIP?
He said
All right.
L-CHIP.
But it's not
yeah.
L dash.
That's
chip.
right, LCHIP.
Okay.
I have line 102. This Commissioner Martin said one is ideas, so maybe it says one of his ideas.
Yep.
Line 145, or 144 to 145. So it says, Commissioner Perry said that the Conservation Commission no longer has a forester, said they should. So I think maybe period after forester and then he to begin a second sentence.
Okay.
What line number is that?
No longer has a
144.
forester, and said they should look into getting another, or?
Yeah,
and-
or you can just put
and
a period
suggested?
after forester and then
Just-
put
just-
he said.
Okay, cross out said in capital A, is that what you're saying?
I was saying, say, forester period, he said they should look into getting another,
Okay,
however you wanna. And then the
Okay.
next line, I'll wait for you to catch up.
okay,
146, it says, this person would be from the Conservation Commission.
Ah,
Yep.
my goodness.
Sorry, I have a few.
no, that's okay, I overlooked that.
Let's see. Line 198, same there, ER on Commissioner Welch. And
Okay.
the same on the next line. 200,
Oh, 200, okay.
yeah, right here. And then 203, it says, Conservation Officer from New Hampshire Fish and Game, to do a weekly,
If it would be helpful to have the officer to do a weekly patrol.
do you maybe take out two and it just
Well,
says do a weekly?
I just,
patrol?
we need to be careful, because if this is what we said, she's, it's been transcribed as to what we said. You know what I'm saying? So if someone said to do, we own it, you know? We may be trying to correct grammar issues that we actually said.
Oh, okay. If
You know what I
you
mean?
think it was
Well, I don't know, that's what I'm
transcribed
saying.
word
If-
for word, I'm
Yeah,
not
I-
sure.
Some of the things, I found out that there are things that I write down that are inaccurate or incomplete, and they get corrected.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I write down are misspelled, and she fixes it. So it could be it could be something I did, or it could be something she did, or it could be exactly what we said, but I'd be more inclined to think it was something that I did.
That was the last one I had.
That was very gracious of you to fall on your sword like that, Tom.
Okay, anything from this
I
end?
had one somewhere, I just gotta figure out which marks we talked about and which we haven't. More of a, line 40, we talked to Mr. Brennan. Should we be calling him Commissioner Brennan? He is the commissioner, he's the,
Yeah, I didn't, because I referred to him as Mr. Brennan
Right.
through the whole thing.
yeah, but he's a conservation commissioner. I
Okay,
mean, not that we need to fix it, I was just saying, just in, he's got that title. I
Yeah,
wonder if
I-
we should be referring to, not just he's not one of our commissioners, but
The reason I didn't the reason I didn't give him the title in the minutes, because I didn't want to confuse
Who's with
about,
us,
is this a
right.
commissioner for us or is it a commissioner
Right.
for them?
visiting
Even though I've already
commissioner or something
explained
like
that
that.
before.
And then also line 183, I'm not sure who she is. If we're talking about something, Alan, if that's something you said, or if we're referring to Chris.
Commissioner
And
Cole.
I wonder if I was reading from the email we got from Chris, that would be me then
she said that we-
conveying that the email said they would have to walk through Mitchell Woods in order to reach the site.
Right,
So if you
so-
want to put my name on she, that's fine.
Either that or we change it to he, so we don't call Chris a female.
That's quick.
Either-
That's
either,
quick,
so
let's
I
do he.
just-
So change to he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good move.
All right.
And that's, I think Jennifer got the rest of mine.
Andrew or Steve? Okay, with that, all in favor of accepting the minutes as amended? Opposed? 700.
Were there any extra flyers at the end there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for doing those.
Okay, anything from the commissioners before we adjourn?
I just wanted to note, Karis, I did see a message in the Merrimack High School newsletter that they put out a call for student volunteers. So I know you had reached out to them, so that was in today, I saw that.
Great.
Just want to point out, I don't know if anyone's been watching the news, we lost a longtime resident of Merrimack, John Listoka, passed away for Saturday. He's been an absolute stalwart supporter of town events and town functions. He's a huge part of the Historical Commission. He's been a big advocate for the Concom and done a lot of work with UNH and supported the multiple things in town, and it's going to be missed.
Gage, I missed the name, I'm sorry.
John Listoka.
Okay.
Anybody who's visited Horse Hill and seen that beautiful pond where the heron rookery is, Listoka Pond.
Listoka Pond, yeah.
Thank you, Gage.
That's part of, there's the spring, the original spring from Maple Grove Farm is on the other side of the parking lot.
Thank you for bringing that
Yeah.
out. I had not learned about this. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?